What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Whole Views, and today we're going to be discussing Bel-Air and my first impressions. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't so far. Most of the views come from people who aren't subscribed. We got a lot of unique viewers, but I would like to start building up some return viewers. Subscribe to the channel. Come back and check out more videos as we talk about all the different TV shows, movies, trailers, and even firearms that we like here on the channel. There's a lot of content that I try to get out as fast as possible. And I also really ask for people to drop comments, especially on videos like these, because here we're talking about Bel-Air. And with Bel-Air, I knew that it was coming, but I did not know what to expect from the show. After watching 2 episodes, I'm not fully caught up. I'm just 2 episodes in. I want to share my thoughts and get some thoughts from other people who are watching the show and enjoying the show. So let's start off with the first little category that I want to talk about, and that is, what impressed you the most? For me, when I think about that question, what is most impressive about this show? I have 3 things that I want to say, but I can't definitively put my finger on any of those 3 things. So let's talk about those 3 things. I think specifically to the production value, which is incredible. I like that they spent money, and you can tell that money was spent and it is being used to make this look pristine. It's shot very well. It has a very cinematic feel. It don't feel like I'm watching a sitcom on a backlot. It looks like I'm watching a long movie, which is very good. So production value is very nice. The set design and everywhere they chose to be, the uniforms, everything about the show looks very good. Like when they did the Philly parts, it was authentic to the East Coast. As they're doing the Bel-Air stuff, it's authentic to the West Coast, which also lends itself to, and I guess this kind of blends because you're talking about production, and the score of a show really does a lot. So for me, the soundtrack, the music that they're choosing is incredibly impressive. Now, maybe that's just because I have a rap background, and I used to rap back in the day, and I was huge into movies and huge into music. And if you grew up with 106 in Park, you will know that when that Freeway song came on in the very first episode, you know, like, hey, that hit. If you grew up around that era, early 2000s, late 90s, like, hey, man, the East Coast songs that they chose really hit. The fact that they chose to put Freeway in there as a cameo, like, hey, this dude is the embodiment of Philadelphia and that East Coast swag. Like, I really like that OG, old school feel they started the show with. I enjoyed seeing the musical selection. Not only that, but then when we moved the story from Philly into LA and he's in Bel-Air, what's the first song you hear? My favorite artist of current times, who is Thundercat. You hear Them Changes playing on Jazz's radio, and it's like, that's the vibe I feel like Jazz is gonna have. Like, that kind of weird, at the same time real knowledgeable, really smart, resourceful type of cat. I like the role that Jazz is playing. I like his introduction. And again, the musical selection, I feel like really matches his character, so far at least. I'm only 2 episodes in, but I feel like it really matches. Throughout the episodes, the music just kept hitting. They had Kid Cudi in there. They had a few other songs. Me and my wife was kind of jamming as we watched this in the bed the other night. It was really good with the musical selection. So I want to say that soundtrack is super impressive, equally impressive to the production value. But my third category, which is probably what most people would lean on and say this is the best thing, would be the casting. Man, so there was a lot of things that people don't want to see, like, oh, you recasting Will Smith and you're doing the Fresh Prince over again, and you messing with my childhood. And like, that is not where I'm falling. I'm falling on the lines where I feel like this story is being presented and it's the same story, but it's an incredibly different feel, and it feels original, but the casting is linked to the old school stuff. And here's what I mean. Aunt Viv, the character who's playing, the actress who's playing Aunt Viv, I don't know if she's trying to or not, but she sounds like Aunt Viv. Like, the tonal of her voice, like the tonal patterns that she uses, she sounds like Aunt Viv. That's huge. Uncle Phil, for me, Uncle Phil was crucial when making the show, because James Avery brought the drama in a comedy. So to have another guy play that role, but in a dramatic retelling of the same story. It's like, hey, that's gonna be difficult to be more dramatic and like come across stronger than James Avery did in a comedy. So I thought he had a lot of weight to carry. He had big shoes to fill. But I feel like he's filling those shoes just in 2 episodes. My biggest trepidation, my biggest cause for concern with the show and the casting is that will these characters be the same at their core? This is the important part that I need people to understand. When you look at the characters in the original Fresh Prince and you look at these characters, the thing that I need people to understand is that the archetypes are the same, meaning that you have Hillary, who is like the ditzy, dumb one. And you have a new Hillary that is in a similar role, but is a little bit twisted. At the heart of her character, she was still a good character. You have Ashley, who was more socially aware, more socially conscious, kind of cognizant of everything that was going on, really smart, like really overlooked in the first one. And you have that same character playing the same type of role here, with a little bit of comedic relief. Like you can see the parallels between the 2 characters. But at the end of the day, Ashley had a very good core, like she was a good person. The biggest question mark for me when talking about that core being a good person is Carlton, because the original Carlton was not vindictive. He was not a person who was like vengeful and like, I really want to get back at you. But this Carlton is being displayed and portrayed as like, hey, this is a very vindictive, like agitated, I'm gonna confront you type of Carlton. Like the first Carlton was a lame, this Carlton is like the enemy. Like he's really an enemy, an adversary of Will. So I'm wondering, is he going to be a good person at his core and do what's right at his core? Remember, I'm only at episode 2. So the last thing that I've seen from the show is that Will got caught with drugs that Connor planted on him, said, I'm gonna take care of him. I told you I would take care of him. And it's like, I know I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna watch some more and talk about it later. But as I saw that second episode, my first thought was, is Carlton going to continue to be a horrible person and just be driven by that jealousy? Or is he going to be what Alfonso was and be a good person at his core and stand up for his cousin and do what's right? That is my big concern. Are all these characters going to be good at the core? Because even Uncle Phil in the first 2 episodes is shown to have some ulterior motives to bring Will along. Like in one breath he said, like, you know, my heart has been aching for that boy since his father trails off. At the same time, you have that Uncle Phil character who appears to be using Will as like a campaign prop, like, hey, look how I'm helping inner city youth. So it's like he has a little bit of a conflict of interest, a little bit of motivational issue when it comes to that character. Will he at his core also be a good guy, stand-up guy? We saw shades of it in the second episode with the basketball shooting scene between Uncle Phil and our new Will. And it's like, man, I really hope that they stick to keeping all these characters as good characters at the end of the day. Good core, like people with a good emotional, I'm gonna do the right thing core. Because that'll really make the show feel like it's worth watching. I don't want to watch a bunch of horrible people. It's bad enough they got Carlton doing cocaine and other drugs. But man, I really, really hope that they stick to having these guys as good guys. Going back to the original question, what really stuck out the most to you? Was it the fact that this is such a high value production? Is it the sound that they're choosing to put in the show, like from the Thundercat to the Kid Cudi to the Freeway, and just like the celebrity type of cameos and the musical choices that's really like blowing your mind? Because it's really impressive to me. Or is it the casting? Do you like the job that all the actors are doing? Do you like the way the show is written so far? Again, I'm only 2 episodes in. You may be all the way up to speed. Or what I plan to do with this series of videos is I'll do this first impressions video. I'll catch up. If I catch up in time, I'll do like a mid-season talk around episode 5, and then possibly a season finale wrap up. Definitely a season finale wrap up, just talking about the season as a whole. So may do another one, or may do 2 more, may do 1 more, whatever. Just subscribe to the channel if you like this type of talks. And please drop a comment. Let me know what you think. What was most impressive to you about the show? Enjoy yourself, guard your heart, and go watch something good.